October, we're going to be offering a short series of talks and opportunities to speak on the Gnostic Gospels. There'll also be some reference to other biblical material, the canonical Gospels and the Hebrew Scriptures. The reason for doing this is not to particularly encourage people to understand the Gnostic Gospels per se, but to deepen the spiritual quest that you may be on, and to shine a new and bright light on your pursuit of the truth or of God. In various traditions, the seeking for truth is expressed differently, but we could say that it is often expressed as knowledge, not the same understanding of knowledge that we find in for example, an academic pursuit or facts that we might gather, but an interior knowingness of the absolute or God. As Jesus would often say, it's about living in the God realm, or he might say, it's living where your will becomes God's will, not in a battle, but in a natural, new way of being. Or that you live in God and God lives in you. So, in this way, knowledge of the truth, knowledge and truth can be collapsed into a single understanding, often referred to as wisdom. It is sometimes a hidden tradition, a lot of hidden teaching, partly because it's part of the inner working, partly because it's part of the esoteric traditions and they have roots in a very much more feminine understanding, and that can be seen as difficult for some aspects of traditional Christian reflection. But we see this process named and encountered and enculturated in various ways and in different traditions and cultures, but in a recognizable form. It's Brahman in Hinduism, it's Sunyata in Buddhism, it's often called wisdom in the Christian tradition, and in Sufism, Islamic Sufism, divine knowledge, wisdom, living in the heart. In Judaism, in the Kabbalah, it's wisdom to see the truth. So you can see this understanding is not simply represented in Christian texts. The suppression of this way of seeing started quite early in the church, and it's continued even till now. But we can see there are two epochs of the church. There's the epoch of Peter. We've been living through that, particularly since Constantine took Christianity into the established religion. And the Petrine view is different, but there's another view that was very actively and often quite violently suppressed, which is the Magdalene or John or Thomas tradition, which is much more esoteric, and where salvation is considered in terms of gnosis, something that must be experienced, not facts that you could elucidate In fact, it is rather difficult to talk about for that reason. So these offerings, however, will be from the Jesus perspective. It will involve finding this stream, or at least noting it in the canonical Gospels and in the Hebrew Scriptures, but with an emphasis on getting to know these more Gnostic texts. And touching briefly on the figures who have pursued that stream, it never got expunged completely, and the various practitioners in that inner world would sometimes pop up, and you know their names as mystics usually, and sometimes as saints, as well as looking at the texts and the people and so on. There will be a genuine attempt to experience this other path which leads to the heart of God. The course will be a serious undertaking. I hope it won't be burdensome, but serious, that requires a sort of commitment over the 6 weeks to listen, and also to do the reading that will get sent out for each week. Planning also to do 3 scheduled Zoom meetings so people can share their thoughts and their experiences, and also have an opportunity to ask questions. A proper, clear schedule will appear at some point, but I thought it might be useful to people to know that this is coming and to begin to prepare. There are a couple of texts which might be useful to read, and if you show an interest, as in if you let us know that you are interested, I can send you those texts.